Presented by That Time I Got Reincarnated in the same world as an anime podcaster, this is Shonen Jumping the Gun, the show where we set our sights on the first chapter of a manga and decide if it's a misfire or a bullseye.
Let's see how many rounds are in this magazine.
Starting off the sports arc, it's the 50, the 40, the 30. It's Eyeshield 21. Welcome, everybody. It is I, your star quarterback, Kermit the Grog, here with my gridiron guru, Isekai Sensei-Sama Brad. Brad, how you doing? Hike! Hike the ball. It's the start. It's the sports arc. We have left the romance arc and we have entered the sports arc.
Now, let's get our plays together and head out on the field.
Let's get slowly, incrementally better at a team sport for a while. I think, are we all covering... This is the first one, but we have the entire arc planned. I want to say, yeah, it's all team sports, right? Spoiler alert, we are not covering Prince of Tennis this first arc.
Yeah, yep. That would be... football, soccer, baseball, soccer.
Basketball.
Yeah.
Rugby.
Although, a little bit of spoilers. Blue Lock, they're not going for the team sport aspect.
No, you're getting ahead of yourselves. We haven't even recorded that one yet. Today, we are covering Eyeshield 21, which is probably my favorite sports manga.
I get it.
And it's a manga that I own all of. Listen to this. This is my tankobon. That's my book. I lent that to Brad. I've read all of it. I own all of it. I was tempted to reread it all.
I was going through the chapter going, yeah, I see why.
Yeah. Yeah. It is interesting because as opposed to the romance arc, for the most part, Shonen Jumping the Gun, no stranger to sports manga. We have had, I mean, if you count martial arts, we have MMA. We had 2 on ice, I would call figure skating an art.
We had 2 MMAs.
What was the second one?
Stars.
Yeah, but that wasn't in Jump. Also, Stars was weird. Whatever.
But you said Shonen Jumping the Gun.
True. And I feel like most specifically out of all of them, green.
Definitely. Dog's Red.
Dog's Red, yeah. We are no strangers to sports manga.
Yeah. We already did the sports arc.
We already did the sports arc.
We have sports arc at home.
No, it's that one's sports arc 0. Oops, all dead.
Dog's Red's still going on.
Dog's Red is still going on.
And
yes.
Star Strike at Rich might.
Who knows? Who cares?
We aren't paying attention.
But we are covering Eyeshield 21. This ran from July 2002 to June 2009 in Weekly Shonen Jump for 333 chapters. Which I don't think you learned yet why that is a very fitting number for this. But the spoiler alert, the team, they are the Devil Bats. There's a lot of devil imagery in Eyeshield 21. So it's very fitting that they get to half the devil number for the run so cleanly. I thought that was very funny. I don't think that was on purpose, but it's a heck of a thing.
So was this was before sports became cursed, I guess.
Yeah, this is back when sports are still popular. Though I don't know where it exists in the big lineup. Like, we're saving the big boy of sports until later in the arc. But I would say this is fairly far up there. I don't know how much people know it. It's not available digitally. I don't think, like, I bought all of my volumes, like, slowly on Amazon over the years. I'm dying for this to be on the app. People need to know about it. I think it's really good.
Hey, you know what's not on the list?
What?
Haikyuu.
That was on the wrist legend. We can add that in. Volleyball. We're also covering volleyball. I wanted that in the beginning. I completely slipped my mind. We had to add that in. But back for Eyeshield 21, a football. No, I was about to say soccer. Football.
No.
Yeah, I know. We're Americans.
No, specifically football is soccer.
Football.
This is American football.
A very American football. Eyeshield 21 was written by Richiro Inagaki. After his work on Eyeshield, he later wrote Dr. Stone.
Oh my God.
And drawn by Yusuke Murata, Brad, you read a manga that this man illustrates. Do you know what it is?
He makes lots of stuff. Currently working on One Punch Man.
Yes, thank you. That was my note. You know him as the guy that does the art for One Punch Man. It has 26 million in sales. I was not able to find its neighbors in the big chart, so I don't know how big up. It never got, Eyeshield 20 never really got big in America. They tried to push for it. They made, this is some of my old nostalgia talking. They made one dubbed episode they released on like Cartoon Network's Toonami's website and tried to do a big marketing push, and it just didn't thing. So like, a lot of the characters have English voice actors listed on the Wikipedia. They've only ever made one episode. One episode was only ever dubbed. And with all that together, it's time for my patented Kermit Speedrun Summary. Chapter 1, The Boy with the Golden Legs. We are told football is a battle of power, strategy, and speed. Splash page of our main trio in football gear during a game. We meet Senna, our nervous main character going to the entrance exam results. His friend, Mamori, is there. Mamoru? Her name is literally to protect. She does a lot of it. I make that joke a lot. I say Mamoru, even though that's not how you say it. He's number 21. He made it. Him and Mamoru are going to be in the same school for the first time since grade school. She's always been helpful to him as he got picked on a lot growing up. Still does. Mamoru runs off to get sent an introduction package. Mamoru runs off to get sent an internet... I can't talk tonight. Mamori, thank you. Mamori runs off to get Senna an introduction packet. A demonic, vampiric-looking dude creepily looks on at Senna from an alley. Fresh meat, he says. He rushes Senna with his large, shadow-faced football equipment-wearing friend in tow. They congratulate Senna for making it into school. The demonic dude offers his phone to Senna to call his mom and tell her. After he puts in the number, the man quickly swipes the phone back, notes the number, then uses that phone number to call a bunch of food places until he finds Senna's address and runs off. Senna heads home and finds his mailbox packed to the brim with football tryout flyers, and the phone had been ringing off the hook about it as well.
We have to. There's a visual clue here that's done very well. I would say it's in your face, but it's also not completely obvious. They show a sign multiple times that says no club recruiting during.
There's a specific sign you see multiple. The sign that says no recruiting during for clubs at the entrance thing, and they're just very specifically.
And so the whole thing here, and because I thought this was brilliant, this might have been my favorite part of the whole chapter, was these two in the football club, the only two in the football club, are recruiting by not recruiting. They go, hey, and because they do this to other people, they're like, do you want to call your mom and tell them that you made it?
Yeah.
And they're all like, oh, you're so nice, thank you.
It's the early 2000s, so they might not have a cell phone yet.
And so then they take the phone back. They have the home number of that person now. They call food delivery places who go, oh, hi, so-and-so, like if they've ordered there before, and they go, are you still at this address?
Yeah, he calls multiple spots until he finds one that says, oh, are you still at blank?
And then he sends the recruitment stuff to their house instead.
It's master level.
It's
incredible.
Brilliant.
Yes.
Absolutely brilliant.
I'm glad you're enjoying it. Let's get back on this. It's tomorrow. Senna remembers to grab his cell phone. So mature. But is kind of sad that Mamori is the only one in his phone. He meets her at school. She says he needs to stop being so passive and make actual friends, not just be a gopher. Maybe try club, but avoid a dude named Haruma. How ominous. Even the mention of his name makes nearby students freak out. Later, Senna runs into some punks outside the school. They want him to fetch them a sweet roll, and he goes to get it and returns an unbelievably record time. They were out, so he's empty-handed. He must be lying. That was too fast. We need to teach you a lesson. How about that shed over there? It's the football clubhouse. As they fool around, a large man appears in the doorway. Ooh, are all these people here for football team tryouts? The thugs try to tackle him. Oh, you want to be linemen? And he throws them all out. They run, leaving just Senna. Senna declines playing as it seems too dangerous. He learns the team only has 2 players, and they have a game coming up. The other team usually has to lend them players. They won't even get a whiff of the Christmas Bowl. Christmas Bowl? What's that? Why, it's only the biggest high school football game played on Christmas Day. It's like the last major battlefield. Senna then learns he could be a manager, and he likes that idea. He leaves having the man, Kurita, now on his phone. On his way home, he runs into the punks again. They're looking for Kurita, or that damn fatty, as they say. I was nostalgic about that line. I remembered that. A lot of characters call him that. They want to goad him into a fight so he'll get suspended from school and football, but Senna refuses to give up Kurita's number. He gets his phone back and runs with super speed through the Spring Festival crowd, perfectly dodging and juking around people and obstacles until finally, touchdown into the train! The demonic dude from before sees this and thinks what an amazing player he'd make. It's the next day, and Kurita and... Look, spoiler alert, the demonic dude is Haruma. I feel like you probably put that together.
Yeah. Like, page 1.
Yeah. Exactly. Both saw Senna, and they're like, oh, wait, we've got this new recruit. Haruma says he's probably already here as we see Senna comically tied up in the clubhouse as he is comically shot at by Haruma. Haruma has a lot of guns, firearms, explode. He's something else. We'll talk about him more then. There's a lot of details about him I've left out that are done visually.
Real strong Iruma-kun vibes.
Who's Iruma-kun?
It's Welcome to Demon School, Demon Academy, Iruma-kun.
Like the tone of it, or specifically Haruma?
The Haruma,
the character.
Character design.
Okay, interesting. Related, question mark? Like conceptually, not like biologically. They dress him up in football gear, and to hide his identity so other teams don't poach him, they give him an Eyeshield helmet. Eyeshield 21! He'll play and manage. The chapter ends with the punks finding naked pictures of themselves with their faces pixelated, hung up with the message, leave him alone or else you'll be identified. End of chapter 1 for Eyeshield 21. I love Eyeshield 21. Coming back to this was very nostalgic to me. It's so wild coming back to this now as somebody who's read so many Shonen Jump first chapters of things, and like, this is where it's like, I need you for this, Brad. I think they do a lot in a little space here. I think there's fun hooks. I think there's enough setup. I know it has the thing that you don't like as much, where it's like, and I want to make the case for it, where you're like, oh, he's secretly really good at this. But I like that it's like, oh, he's a gopher, so he's always sent running places, and the quicker he can do it, the better, and that's why he's good at, like, running really fast and juking around.
Yeah, so that's the caveat for that, is like, you have to give me a good reason why that they're amazing at something. And while I would like to have seen how you get there, the fact that they made it pretty clear. They didn't really have to show you, because through the actions that happened, it was clear that he built up to that. Now, the complete overpowered nature of his abilities, maybe a little too far.
You will see, though, but we haven't actually played, A, football is a team sport, and B, we have not seen, like, he's getting a... Hi, I'm going to use all of the future vision that I can remember for the most part. It gives him a leg up, but it does not make him some unkillable god beast. Sure.
And the thing is like, in this one, more so than like in Green Greens, it's sort of shown that there's a heightened reality going on here.
Yes.
It's not trying to be super realistic. So the fact that he is so good and he's like got this amazing ability and everything, it's like, okay, like there's a suspension of disbelief that I got from it. So it's certainly something I would have liked expounded on, and maybe it'll expand on that in the future. But like this particular chapter, I didn't feel that in the same way that I sometimes do.
Yeah, this is Eyeshield 21 is the one that I always come from, of like, I like that he gets a leg up because of what he had to do before. That gave him, like, in this other arena, he did this, and that gives him a benefit in this sports game.
There's also the thing where it's like, in Green Greens, they set up Yaisaki against all of these other people who are, like, really talented and good and everything. And then they go, oh, look how talented he is on his own, like, having never played before. Now, obviously, in Green Greens, they did a fairly good job of that, but there's still a little bit of it. Whereas in this one, it's sort of shown that, like, yeah, he's really fast and can juke and everything, but also that guy's really big and can't get tackled by these, really big delinquents and everything. And then the Haruma,
yeah, the demon guy,
demon ears,
their quarterback
guy, is just like all over the place and doing all kinds of stuff. So it's like they're sort of setting them up alongside other things. It doesn't really point at the aspect of, don't worry about working hard, you're super talented, right? That's not the message.
No, because I mean, again, this is like this is the joy of you having that, and I'm trying to do it without putting in too much biasy future vision into you, but it's like, I know all the places this goes for the most part. I know how the other teams work. Like, there are multiple training arcs over time, and like all of the stuff that like everybody is like, this is definitely a manga of, you've got a leg up, but you also have to work really, really hard. And which is, you know, a running thing of Shonen Jump, is try hard, especially in the sports stuff. I love Haruma because I love that the dirtiest player in the game is on your team. I love that. You never get that in things. Usually you have to, like, that's on a rival team or something. It's like, he's so scary. He's blackmailed almost the entire school.
Are those is that a real gun?
I don't know. He has grenades at some point. Like, he just has ordnance.
Okay.
I think they've talked about him breaking into the army base before.
All right. That it's probably supposed to be real, and this is just heightened reality.
Yeah, we're in a weird cartoon.
Yeah.
I would say to that, like, there are definitely teams with gimmicks of, like, you're amazing at football, but, like, I don't think anything, like, truly, truly insane happens. I would say definitely Eyeshield's heightened reality, but I would say it's like, this is how we are seeing heightened, these things,
but not necessarily cartoon.
Heightened display.
Yeah.
Nobody's got like literal spring legs or something like that.
Which I guess is, I mean, for something that you said 2002, right?
Yeah.
I think that tracks pretty well. Like,
what does that track?
Well, because you sort of back then it was like there was less of an emphasis on realism in anything.
I disagree. I don't know why, but I also don't know why you came to that conclusion.
I just think back of stuff that I know from then, and it's all very cartoonish. Like, it's not that there wasn't anything realistic, but the realistic things were like, oh, this is super realistic and like very serious and everything. Whereas a lot of the anime and manga are like, no, we're comics. We're going to do comic stuff.
I would say that. I think it's interesting coming back with the other knowledge of just like, oh, this was an artist-writer team-up, and I can see all that extra juice that could be put in with the artist just going off on top of like the writing already being good, and then the artist being able to add all this extra personality into it from that, I think is really neat. So, where do you think... I know it's going to be like, I want you to be a little bit more specific, because I know it's going to be really easy to go, it's a sports manga, it's going to do the sports manga thing. Where do you think it's going to go? Where are we immediately from right now?
So, I mean, obviously the first arc of this is getting a team together, because there's only the 3 of them, and they need 11 at least to field a team. So you got to do that first. Beyond that, there's obviously the whole longer goal of getting to the Christmas game. Yeah. Right. So you can fit a lot of stuff in between there where they're going, we gotta get better. We're gonna play this team and they have this specialty, and so we gotta figure that out and be able to beat them and stuff like that. So I think that's...
I know. I like so much. It's like they work hard and they hopefully get to the thing before the manga gets canceled. But yeah. Let's see. What do you want to see more of, and what do you want to see less of? Is there a side note of there? Is there anything you didn't like?
You know, it's interesting. I don't think there was anything in here that I didn't particularly like. The closest I could get to that would be there were a couple scenes. I think it was the stuff where a couple of the times where he was running, where I lost the cohesion of the action.
Really? Like with the little light dash?
So every scene where they had that in play,
I love that.
It was like, okay,
I love that thing.
I know exactly what's going on here, but the connection panels between some of those bits, it was sort of like the camera angles, I would say, where it's like, oh, you've switched the camera angle from like one side to the other, and I've lost my placement in this setting, and so things sort of didn't make sense to that degree.
Okay.
But that was pretty much it. Overall, I would say this was really well done. Interesting characters, interesting story, good art, like very, I would say, objectively good.
I think it gets the thing we're going to come back to a lot that I feel like we've bumped up against in our earlier sports things we've covered. And spoiler alert, we recorded an episode of the Sport Arc ages ago that will go later in the arc with special guest star Maxie B. I think it's important to have something that's fun that is not the sport in the manga. Mm-hmm. There needs to be something else going on that is fun, that is not just the act of competition. Even if that's the main reason why you're there. And I think Eyeshield 21 has that in spades, because I think it has so much more, it has a lot of personality. And it's not like inner character drama necessarily is the word I would use, but like, it's just fun.
The only problem there is that that's a lot of future vision.
Yeah.
Now, I will give you a little bit there because this first chapter had no football in it.
It doesn't have any football in it, but I would say I guess my point to that is, like, I love the Haruma stuff. I love the fact that it's just like, you've just gotten here. And it's like, he's not a bully in the classical sense, but I love that it, like, the fact that he does he's like a con man. I just love it how, like, strangely hyper capable he is as a teenager, that, like, the student body and the teachers are all scared.
Yeah.
And this is just playing in the back. And he just really wants to play football.
Yeah. It's a brilliant characterization. I can't say that I've really seen that before, and especially not in a character who
not in a sports thing
is probably supposed to be someone that you at least root for in some sense in the future.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to find... I don't even think I can say think. I already know. I've already read all the series we're covering. We're not going to find another character like him in the sports arc. In this one, or I think even in future ones. I don't even know where we're going to find characters that are like him in anything else.
I have seen similar characterizations in other series, but it was always either like a villain or like a rival or something, like someone who you were supposed to be like, I'm rooting for the main character over this person.
What if he's on your side?
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
It's what if the dirtiest player in the game was your buddy? Like, genuine, and not like, oh, is he going to turn on me? It's like, no, he's ride or die for your team, and I love that. How long do you think it'll be until they play football?
Given that they have to field a team. So there's two ways that I think that it could go.
Do you think, in this first Tankobon, 7 chapters, do you think they will play football in this book?
So there's two ways that I think it could go. In one way, yes, they will play football within the first volume. However, it won't be like a real game. And the other way that it could go, I suspect that it would be at the end of the second volume that they would play.
Okay.
So in the first scenario, they're starting to do the recruiting and all that stuff, but they do some like training skirmish stuff. So that
scrimmage.
Right. And they're doing it with not enough people and, all that kind of stuff. And it's basically just drills and whatnot, just practice stuff. They don't have enough people. So it's not a real game of football, but they are playing parts of football.
Okay.
And that could happen within the first volume. The other way is they have to collect 11 people first, and then they get to play against some other team.
This is a leading question. Do you think they get everybody at once?
I wouldn't think so.
Okay.
It's too many people.
Spoiler alert, they don't.
Yeah.
I think they... Again, obviously this is filtered through. I read this. Well, what? I read a lot of this when I was in middle school, and then later I came back to it, 3-4 years ago, and slowly bought all of it and reread all of it. And then, because I never finished it when I was younger, because the bookstore near my house never had all of it, so... But yeah. Okay. What are your feelings about this? I think we've hit everything else.
I'm gonna go with I'm gonna go with good. So here's this is the thing.
I know. I'm such a nostalgia baby right now.
I enjoyed reading this first chapter.
Okay.
I like the premise.
Yes.
I like the characters.
Yes.
The art isn't necessarily my thing, but it's objectively good art, especially for the series, for what it's trying to do. However, there's just something in here that just didn't quite hook me.
I think you're going to... I mean, we already got a teeny tiny taste of it, and people haven't heard yet. I don't think you're going to have a good... I don't think you're going to break the good ranking on Sports Arc.
That's completely possible.
Because, like, I think, honestly... Hi, spoiler alert, even though this is the first episode of the Sports Arc. Personally, not like objectively, but personally, Eyeshield 21's my favorite. We're covering this arc.
And
we're covering literally the number one numeric, like, financially making sports manga of all time. I
could tell reading that was something that you would love.
Yeah.
I can't, like...
You still don't like sports, which is weird because, like, I don't like actual world sports. Actual world sports bore me, and I think, not necessarily, I guess I kind of think they're dumb. I don't know, but, like, there's just something about sports manga. I like also, like, you don't see a lot of football manga. Like, I just don't, I don't know. It's mine. It formed me growing up. It is, I'm too biased.
So here's the thing. If this was coming out today and we started at chapter, and there was only, 1, 2, 3, 4 chapters out, I would read this week to week.
Yeah, me too. I would read this. I would buy it.
But
I would buy thing. But I'm also, again, I'm biased because I own all of it. I've read all of it. I know it's coming. But like rereading chapter 1, it's because sometimes when you go back to something you loved, like especially with fresh eyes, you're like, eh.
It's just this falls into the realm for me where it's like, because it's on the edge and there's a ton of it sitting in front of me. Yeah, I go,
you're not going to read. I'm not holding you against it. Like I don't hold this against you like I do with Golden Kamui.
But I want to be clear that like this isn't like I don't like other sports manga. This one is like I could see myself liking this in the right context.
It's not your flavor, and that's okay.
I just want to really hammer home that it is good.
Yes, you're
it
good,
would be
Brett. You are not hurting my feelings.
I'm not talking to you right now.
Okay, I'm just gonna look at you.
This is something that I would recommend to other people. Like, I'm not gonna read it. There could be a situation where I would. It's like 10%, right? But I can objectively see the value in it and go, this is good. Other people should read this.
I think it's amazing. I love Eyeshield. Like, this was always going to just be a nostalgia biased romp. This is why I asked you a lot of questions, because my opinions were already very clear. I respect your position. This is my baby, and I will continue to care for it. Because admittedly, like I said, you never know when you come back to stuff. Like, that was the thing that was cool reading this, was A, coming back to reading this when I was in middle school, and B, coming back to this now that we've read so much of recent Jump and going, let me compare and contrast.
I want to be, how do I want to put this? Because, spoilers for the next episode, I have some strong opinions of some things.
Me too.
And this one, especially since this will be the first one that comes out for the sports arc.
Correct.
I want to set a bar of positivity here.
Okay, I'm going to have you very specifically, even if they're all the same good or okay ranking, I want you to like stack all of these when as we come in here. We're gonna have like
this is almost certainly number 1.
Okay. Well, yeah, it's the first. Well, technically you've had another one, but we'll get there when we get there.
Looking at our list of planned ones that we're going to cover, I think this will be number 1.
Yeah.
Currently, Rookies is number 2.
Yeah. Spoiler alert. That was the one we did with Maxi B.
I don't want to say a distant number 2, but it's not right next to it.
I could believe that. I don't think we need to kick in High Noon. I think you just said this isn't for me.
No, I mean, and I'm generally positive on this.
Yes, I would agree with that statement.
Yeah, like you said, it's not for me. I wish I had a more concrete idea of why it wasn't for me, that I could express that, because there is I mean, there's a part of me that wants to understand the psychology of what I've got going on, what you've got going on.
Brad, this is me not liking Satisfactory in a way that I said, this game's great. I could try to put things into words, but it will not capture it. It's just not for me, and you know what? That's okay and valid.
But what did I do with that?
I was like, trying to make it work, and you know what I'm not trying to do right now? Make it work for you.
No, but I'm trying to figure it out. That's what I do.
To. That's not how it works.
I try
I've learned
to figure
that lesson.
out
I've tried
what it is.
So yes, that has been the start of the sports arc. We are starting, I think, incredibly strong.
Yeah.
With Eyeshield 21. And with that, thank you for listening. Brad, hit me with them plugs.
As always, we want to thank Segoy Mart for partnering with us. Segoy Mart's a retailer of Japanese snacks, drinks, toys, and merch. We've got a lot of cool stuff you can't get outside Japan. Our listeners can check the link in the description or use code APR15 at checkout to get 15% off their first order. Of course, we want to hear from people, so you can hit us up on social media, which you can find links for on our website, animepodcasterreincarnation.com. You can join us on Discord, where we've got a lot of fun chats going, and apparently sometimes we stream.
Right now! Go back in time and be there. Unless you were.
Don't forget to check out our Patreon. Our supporters get perks like voting on which series we cover on heroin addiction, bonus episodes, which there will be one actually before this episode comes out.
Yeah, you'll already heard it.
As well as getting the high-quality stereo version of the podcast early. And we want to hear what perks people want. So, and of course, we got to shout out our patrons. So first and foremost, we want to shout out our noble tier, who has currently joined us in our live stream. Our marquee, Sir Cake Dwarf. Thank you so much.
I've been wanting to add more pomp and circumstance since that got added to the podcast, since hearing it.
At our Reincarnator tier, we've got Moon. And last but not least, at our commoner tier, we've got Rena and Kill Hour. So thanks so much to all our patrons.
Thank you once again, everybody, for listening. Make sure you listen to all the podcast series on our feed. And oh gosh, Brad, I think Haruma got my number. Oh gosh, what's he gonna do to me? We are so done.
Now, that's just good football.
That's good football. Bam! He got him. Bam!
Now, you see, if they can just get the ball down the field into the end zone, then they're going to be able to score, and that's going to win them the game.
Boom! I feel like I had a better bit and I didn't know what it was, so I went with that. This is for the beepity beeps because it's audio, and literally there will be no other place for me to bring this up, but I will always remember I somehow, in the early 2000s, got my hands on probably like a special order DVD from Japan of the Eyeshield 21 anime, because I didn't know how to torrent at that point. I was a teenager. And I always remember one of the characters they meet a lot later on, who's their, I don't remember what position name he had. He had a weird spot. He was like the all-rounder guy. Like they get him like second to last, if not last. His name I think was Taki. He had a sister, and I don't know if he was just, I don't think he was an American, but he was supposed to be like a trendy airhead, and I just forever burned into my brain. He'd go, ha ha ha, my sister, and that's just been. I have loved English for a very long time, Brad. But just that, like, if you play it now, it's probably different than whatever. But just like that, I don't know why he'd make that opening noise. I don't know if that was the word. I'm going, ha ha ha. I just hear him going, my sister. It's the best. Anime wasn't very good. It was fine. Read the manga.